Hello, friends. My name is Asslam Shaikh, your host for this evening, and I'm the founder and CEO of Alif, a platform to promote the global perspective of education and career. This is our 18th webinar series and broadcasted live on Facebook and YouTube channel. Every Friday, we aim to bring in the valuable speakers to discuss the topic that is important to you and help the students and parents to make a wise career decision. So if you have not liked our Facebook page yet or subscribed to our YouTube channel, I would invite you to do so. And I'm quickly sharing the link here so that it becomes easy for you. Just click on here and then you will be guaranteed to have a quality discussions every Friday or quality updates regarding the education and study abroad matters related. For the benefit of our new viewers who have joined us first time on this webinar, I would like to present you Alif in a very short and quick way so that you know who we are and what we do. So let me share the screen and take you to a very small, brief introduction of Alif. Okay. So, as the name suggests, you must be wondering that what this Alif is stands for. So, let me introduce you that Alif is actually the first alphabet in Urdu and Arabic language, and that denotes the beginning of education or the start of education. And we thought that it's a appropriate name to keep as an organization because we have got students who do career counseling, who take our services to begin their new education journey to go abroad for higher education, and that's how the name appears. About our company, we established in 2008, and we have counseled over 23,000 students so far. We maintain 100% admission ratio across the universities which we represent. We have got 95% visa ratio for all our students, which is among the best in the industry. We represent 14 plus countries, and in regards to the affiliations, we are certified consultants by the British Council, US High Commission, Uni Agent, ISIF, which is the prime body in the world in Germany, and the WEBA of Switzerland, and many more. What we promise is a 100% guarantee of admission to the university which we represent based on the application which we receive from the students. These are some of the universities which are one of the world's best, or mostly they are among the top 200 or top 300 in the world for different courses. What we also assured you the scholarship up till now in last over 10 years, we have distributed over 23,000 crores of scholarship to our students under various heads, which you can go through later on. We have got a lot of students getting the scholarship as low as 2,34,000 to as high as 100% tuition fee waiver for the universities in Germany. What we essentially do is that we offer career counseling, whether you want to study in India or abroad. The first step needs to be the right step. And this is where most of the students and his parents have got the confusion what to study. And that's what we try to address through our DMI technology, which we use, or the online psychometric aptitude or personality test, whatever you call. So we have got one of the best tests with us, which we'll introduce to you. We also offer the IELTS coaching, which is important and essential for almost all the universities you want to go abroad for. And we offer the services for study abroad, right from student profiling to application to finding the accommodation, and in between everything. The countries which we represent are based out of Europe, North America, Middle East, and Asia Pacific. So you have got plenty of countries option, and you can choose, or we can guide you to choose the right university and right country. We also help the students not only just to go abroad for studies, but also prepare yourself before you go. So apart from documentation, what we talk about the preparation is like cross-culture training, health awareness, etiquettes, different etiquettes, which you got to know before you enter into a foreign country, which you've never been before, etc. So that's how we prepare you well before you go. We also visit our students, so we assure the quality of the universities, the students, so we know the university where we are referring you. It's not just a Google-based search, but me and my counselors, they visit, and we have got, that's the reason why we have got 95% student satisfaction ratio. Again, a testimony of our work, we have got rated 4.6 out of 5 on Google. We have got 96,000 followers, and that makes us, Alif, the third largest company in our domain in India, for having the maximum followers. Similarly, we have got pretty decent subscribers across the different social media channels. These are some of the events which we keep on doing it, and these are the photographs. My counselor visit, meeting the students abroad, taking the feedback, and that's what something we do. And these are the success stories of some of our students. This student's research work was published in the local newspaper in New York. She's studying in State University of New York. She's an engineer student. Already got a job. And Akshay is also from Mumbai. He was from NM College, now did his MBA and working successfully for last 3 years in Ireland. So we have got a lot of success stories. About me, I've counseled personally more than 1,000 students, traveled more than 14 countries, and been certified counselor by various agencies, which you get. And that's a surprise gift which is coming to you. So stay tuned, and I'll surely share with you. So that was a small introduction. And before we move further, so if you are listening to us first time, and if you are a career counselors or principal or industry experts and would like to join us on this platform, please write to me on aslam@alif.in, and I'll be more than happy to have you on our platform. And I quickly introduce you to today's topic. Today's topic is New Education Policy 2020. We already covered the first part in the last week. It was a very exciting part. We had more than 100 viewers across different channels, and we have very interactive session, and that led us to also come to the second part, because we had so many inquiries which we couldn't complete in first episode. So we are trying to complete it in today's session. So let's begin this session, and I will do the honor of introducing our very eminent speakers who are available today, and they, with their insights to share with you the information and knowledge which you are looking for with regards to this particular topic. So our first speaker, let me introduce and have him here with us, Mr. Himanshu Dev. Hi, Himanshu.
Hi.
Hello, Himanshu. So I'll quickly read about Himanshu's profile so that everybody knows who he is and what he does. So Himanshu is a keynote speaker and higher education and career expert. He served in the US Department of State's Education. His students reach MIT, Harvard, Cornell, and Columbia, and also in India across the best institute like IIT, IIMs, and ISBs. He was a lecturer at the University of North Carolina, USA, and completed his master's from the same university in the international studies with a full scholarship. He's currently advisor to various schools, universities, government, and organizations across the world. We welcome Himanshu.
Thank you.
Okay. So our next speaker, let me do the honor of introducing her. Our next speaker is Ms. Debika Chatterjee. Hello, ma'am. Thanks for joining us. You're on mute, sorry. You couldn't hear you. Hi.
Hello. Hi, Asslam.
Hi, thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us again. Let me introduce Ms. Debika Chatterjee. She's the Director Principal of JBCN International School with over 20 years of experience in the field of education. Currently has the Borivali branch of JBCN International School as a Director Principal. She's also been instrumental in setting up the One World International IB School in Singapore. She has been instrumental in implementing and channelizing the UN's 17 Sustainable Development Goals as the long-term vision of the school. She's also the recipient of various awards, which includes the Ethical Education Leadership Award by International Education Awards, Progressive Principal of the Year by the Rethink India, and the Best Principal Performance Award by the Global Achiever Foundation. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us again.
Thank you, Asslam.
Thank you. Okay, so let me also introduce you our next speaker from Sangli, and is Mr. Ganesh Kumar. Hello, Mr. Ganesh.
Yeah, hi.
Hello. Mr. Ganesh is the principal of MAEER's Vishwashanti Gurukul School of Sangli. Mr. Ganesh has 22 years of experience working in the field of education with 2 master's degree in IT and environmental science. He worked with various international schools all over Maharashtra, Karnataka, AP, and Telangana. So he'll be the right person to answer your queries related to different states as well. And his leadership is a student and a teacher centric, and he's experimented with multiple teaching methodologies tailored to the needs of every student. Currently, he is the founding principal of MID VGS Sangli. We welcome Mr. Ganesh.
Yeah, thank you, Asslam, and it's my pleasure being here.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so next speaker. She was very active last episode, and she had a lot of queries to answer. Dr. Jaya Parikh. Hello, Dr. Jaya.
Hello, namaste, good evening.
Namaste. Thank you very much for joining us again. Dr. Jaya
My
Parikh, she is
pleasure.
a PhD in chemistry, B.Ed, MBA in education management, and 19 years of experience in the field of education and 9 years as a school leader, currently serving as a principal of Ram Ratna International School, Mumbai since 2012. Dr. Jay is an active member of Executive Committee of Member of International School Association, Education Today, Society Tomorrow. Dr. Jaya also is a proud recipient of many awards that includes Rex Change Championship Fellowship Award 2019, Torchbearer School Award supported by United Nations, and the Innovative Principal of 2018 by International School Awards, Dubai. Thank you very much, Dr. Jaya, for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for
Thank
having me.
you. Okay, let's move to the next speaker. And in this panel, we have got a new speaker joining us, Dr. Sagarika Roy Bhatia. Hello, ma'am. Thank you very much. Yes. Dr. Sagarika, she's the ex-principal of RBK International School, a dynamic, diligent, and resourceful administrator with a successful track record spanning higher education, primary, secondary, and special education. She's been associated in dynamic roles at Podar Group of School, Diva Patil International School, SVKM JV Parikh International School, and Vibgyor High School. Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us. It's really a pleasure to have you. Thank you. Okay. So, to all our viewers, if you have any questions during the session, I would request you to please type in the comment box and we will try to take the question as we progress in the session. And I will also announce a special gift for our students and parents. And that's very interesting, I guess, for you to know. Because many times it happens that we talk about the careers and a lot of avenues and opportunities, but the first question still remain unanswered, that how do we decide what to study? How do I decide that what is good for me? I have got bunch of information, a lot of knowledge, but still, how do I make a right match with the right program? And for that, I would share with you a very advanced student ability test and the saving of 4,000 on that. So stay tuned, and I'll share the link soon. Okay, so let's begin with the introduction of the first topic, and I will invite our speaker of the evening quickly so that they join in us in the room and they enlighten us on a various topic. So let's quickly move on, and I'll request the speakers. So let's be as fast as possible so that we cover the most of the questions. So we left the last point last week on to the sixth standard onwards changes which have been introduced, and now I want to move ninth onwards till 12th class, and the changes are going to happen in this particular genre. So my first question to Dr. Jaya. Uh, Dr. Jaya, we are talking about now the multidisciplinary study options. And this is
Right.
something which is very exciting because we've been counseling students for last over 10 years that why should they go abroad? I know for this particular and very reason that you can experiment with a lot of courses. You can take your hobby
Right.
course as your minor and do the major along with it. What's your take now? This policy is talking about multidisciplinary has been introduced here in India. So let me hear from you, please.
Uh, Thanks, Aslam. So I think it was a long awaited and much needed reform when it comes to multidisciplinary. I think Indian education was lacking in this area when compared with the international, the best of the education in the world. So multidisciplinary actually gives a holistic understanding of any concept, going beyond the limits and the walls of a particular subject or a discipline. So those hard silos which were existing between arts and humanities, or between co-curricular and curricular, or academic and vocational, those are now going to be melted down. Everything becomes a part of learning, because this policy talks about learning to learn for life. Now life doesn't throw challenges at you concerning to one particular subject or a discipline. So one has to apply holistic thinking, a critical thinking with a knowledge of various subjects, skills, and vocations. So I think this is high time that India really accepted this, and the schools and institutions, higher education institutions, adopted this system. So I feel this would give more detailed understanding of maybe lesser concepts, but so the content is going to be reduced definitely, but it's going to be more comprehensive approach to learning of those concepts. So suppose a child studying sciences is also free and is allowed to take dance, So a medical student may have a background of dancing as well. Then similarly, a mathematics students can take up fine arts. So, there is no limit. And as far as vocational is concerned, it also talks about local skills. It could be pottery, it could be painting, it could be anything. So a child is not limited because your brain is not limited to just one domain. It has several domains, and all the domains need to be stimulated together properly.
So does that mean that student need not to look out of the curriculum to do this exercise? Now it becomes a part of the
Right.
curriculum, so he'll do it.
Absolutely. So here the schools and colleges have to offer the various options so that the child can make it a part of curriculum. It has to be integrated in the curriculum. It is no longer going to be extracurricular or co-curricular thing.
Absolutely right.
It's
Thank you
actually
very
the way
much.
of teaching learning process.
Right. That's very interesting. I believe that, and students, parents, you would be, really fortunate to have this kind of learning approach whereby you are, combining the best of, I'll not say two worlds, but the different worlds. Okay, so moving to the
So
next
Aslam,
question.
it's not only about the subjects, but it's also about the pedagogy. So it is going to be diverse, more hands-on, experiential, art integrated, sports integrated, storytelling. So more engaging, fun, enjoyable, relevant, hence
Absolutely.
holistic. Thank you.
So fun, loving, and I'm sure that the students and parents would enjoy this education
Right.
much better than the before. And let's change the gear now immediately, and then talk about this is the most asked question, I think, by the parents, that when we talk about the 9, 10, 11, 12, this is the final block we are talking in this session. So we already covered the
Right.
other 5 plus 3 plus 3 block. So we are talking about the last four, last one block, which talks about 9, 10, 11, 12. And Mr. Ganesh, I would like to invite you to educate us that we've been seeing that 10 plus 2, this is what we've been hearing and we are very accustomed to. Now, suddenly we are talking about 9 till 12 coming together in one block. So how this is going to take place? Can you please educate us?
Yeah. As rightly said by Dr. Jaya, see in this 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, in the case of this last phase of this 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, they are talking about this multidisciplinary approach. There is no hard separation between the academics as well as occasional courses, as well as that there is no difference between science and arts and humanities. See, basically a teenager, see, I know a child, okay, generally I'm seeing, I saw him from 10, 15 years onwards. His basic idea is whenever I ask him what you want to become, he used to tell like, I want to become as an astronaut. But once when he geared up with the using this coding and all that, he changed his attitude. Later stages, he used to tell that I want to become as a software engineer. So here with this multidisciplinary approach, if we are giving them the chances of learning different subjects, different sort of things, so they will experience a various subjects, various pedagogies they will approach. So in this sense, what happens is with lot of flavors to him. Okay, he can choose when he attains the age of like 16. He will get a clarity in which field he is suitable in. So otherwise, what happens is in the past previous approach, they generally used to learn only science, arts, or commerce defined to a particular approach. Maybe after 16 years, they found that it's not suitable. They learn commerce, finally they end up with it is not suitable, it is not my cup of tea. Okay, so here with this multidisciplinary approach from this 9th to 12th, they can experiment with the different options and they will get a clarity about their career.
So they can carry this multidisciplinary approach across these 4 years, you mean to say, from 9 to
Yeah,
12?
see, it's like these some things has to be clarity has to be come in the document because few things they have opted as 1 year long course. See, when they are going with major and minors, so they have to define how many years this major minors are going to be placed or whether it is. But when I gone through the document, they have mentioned in a sentence like these are 1 year courses, 1 year long course. So, like for example, ninth they can have some minors, in 10th another minor, so they can have the flavors of different minors.
Right. Right.
Later, after completing of plus two, they will get a clear idea of what they can do.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so on this point, many parents also asked, and they were uh, having a concern over the exam pattern. And here I would like to invite Dr. Sagarika. Dr. Sagarika, if you can unmute yourself, please, and educate our audience that how the exams looks like in this 10th and 12th standard and in between of this 4 years of block. Dr. Sagarika.
Thank you, Aslam. Yeah. The grade 10 and grade 12 examination is here to stay. That is, a board examination will stay, but certainly the curriculum will be changed, keeping the holistic development of the child in mind. And when we say that the curriculum is going to change, it's going to involve less, more of concepts, more of skills, and will look into more of critical thinking, logical reasoning, and would look into a student approaching it globally, holistically. So first thing, the main change is that rote learning will take a back seat, and it will be higher order thinking skills that will be assessed, and also skills and concepts that will be assessed. That is one part of the board examination. And at the same time, another interesting part of the NEP 2020 coming into force would be the board examinations will have two entry points. That is, at one entry point, if you don't fare well, you have another second chance to improve your grades, which was never there in India. It was always there in our international curriculum, but it was never
Right.
there in India. So first time in the Indian curriculum, an entry of 2 point of examination is really a well taken point. And thirdly, also post grade 10, it was a gradual shift of the child into grade 11. And again, in international education and international studies, as you have always been in that particular domain, I'm sure you know about what is called a gap year.
Right.
So gap
Yes.
year in the Indian education wasn't really taken very positively. So now with NEP 2020 coming in after grade 12 or after grade 10, for some particular reason, maybe illness or death in the family, or maybe you would want to go and pursue some vocational course. So you can take a gap year and you can have an entry into grade 11 even after a year. It's not necessary that it has to be continued. So that is about the 11th and 12th. Also, at the same time, the curriculum, apart from having your main core subject, would be they would even have vocational subjects. So the grade 10 and grade 12 examination would lay less pressure, less stress on the students, and also will give away with the coaching classes. And
So
hence,
when we say less pressure, less stress, what do you
yeah.
mean by that?
Yeah, what do I mean by that is that children now who have to take, it is compulsory for you to take English, math, science, Hindi, whatever, they're compulsory. But there, with your conventional subjects, you can also have vocational subjects which are scoring, which are very
Right.
scoring. Like you can take art, dance, music, PE, and things like this. So what happens when a child gets a plethora of subjects to study, and that's the child's interest. Here maybe the child is not meant for certain subject but has to study the subject by force. But when you have a choice of subject, the child can actually take up that particular subject, and I'm sure can excel in that subject. And this will give more room for players, for dancers, for musicians to pursue their career in others in other fields, and at the same time educate themselves. Because currently what was happening is that students who were not really who were doing other things other than education, like were good players, cricketers,
Right.
footballers, all of those, they were going into NIOS by default. By
Right.
default, they put into NIOS because they couldn't really cope up with the demands of the curriculum. So now with NEP coming, this will be room for every student. All five fingers are not the same, so all students are also
Absolutely.
not made the same. So this is a very welcome change, and 10 and
Right.
12 board exams are here to stay. Yes, but with a
Thank
difference.
you. Thank you, Dr. Sagarika. It was really important information, and would be a relaxing information for many students and parents. A sigh of relief that now, if you are good in other areas, your other areas can also shine into the results or in the outcome of the education. And so it's not only your education area would matter. So that's a very important piece of information we learned from her. Debika ma'am, I would like to invite you here. When we talk about the holistic approach of education, and as Dr. Sagarika said, that there will be different ways to assess the students in this new era, less stress exam. So, how does this the scorecard would look like? What would be the features of the scorecard, and what would be the parameters?
Um, the holistic progress card. So the NEP calls it the holistic progress card.
Okay.
And the states and union territories are supposed to design progress cards which will make them multi-dimensional, which will give parents, children, and of course teachers also an opportunity to do a 360-degree report of each child. It will include something very, very exciting is that the report card will include self-assessment, peer assessment, along with teacher assessment. That is again something very progressive, very useful, because self-assessment ultimately leads to the best type of learning. It will also focus on the uniqueness of each learner. The progress card, the holistic progress card will focus on the cognitive abilities, the socio-emotional abilities, the psychomotor domains. The progress card will be based on inquiry-based learning. There will be different modes of assessment that will be used. So there will be quizzes, role plays. So they've brought in almost every best practice in the field of education. The holistic progress card will actively involve parents in their child's education and development. And of course, one more very, very exciting thing is that AI based software will be developed to help track the growth through the school years and help children to make optimal career choices, which is again the best thing to happen. The assessment and the progress report of a child, if it can be tracked uh, through the years, and it will definitely help the child, the teachers, the parents, of course, to figure out in the end what is the best path to take for each child. So I think the reporting is there are some very, very exciting features in the progress report, the holistic progress report.
It looks very interesting, and it sounds very interesting because it showcases, say, for example, my the entire personality, not only my educational skills. So,
Yeah.
who would design? I mean, have we got the parameters well defined already, or who will design this holistic card, or whether the school will design differently or state will design differently? How it is going to look like?
See, as far as our schools are concerned, we already look at many of these. We look at different parameters. We have something called effort grades, for example, which is unique for each child. We have something that is designed by our group of schools. And the same has happened already in many schools, which are looking at best practices. However, the NEP is for each and every school in the country, and that is the biggest advantage of NEP, because it is not going to be confined to a few private schools which have access to the best professional development. These the NEP will actually bring down the best practices to each and every school in the country, and that is where it will bring about a major change. It can be
Okay.
designed by the state, it can be designed by the schools. There is talk about setting up special research facilities to look at all these progressive
Right.
elements of education. Let's hope we
Right.
can move forward with that.
Okay. That's very interesting.
I would just
On
like to
this,
add a point here,
yeah,
Aslam.
yeah,
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 as
Dr.
Debika Chatterjee rightly said, that it's going to be a multi-dimensional report card where not only teacher assessment but self-assessment as well as peer assessment will take place. So this will remove all the personal bias that normally a teacher has.
Yeah.
It's going to be such a holistic thing that all personal biases will be taken care of.
Okay. That's
I just want
very
to add
important. That's very interesting. Yes.
National.
If I could add something in relation to the card.
Yeah. Yeah, Dr.
Hello. So, Aslam, when it talks about self-assessment, I think we are making the children take onus for their own learning. We want them to become responsible for their own learning, because India never had the system of making the child decide what he does, how he is in
Absolutely.
anything. So it's a very big step, making them feel
That's true.
responsible.
That's true.
I would like to disagree over here, Jaya. It's not as if India did not. It's not as if India did not have this system. It's just that
The education system,
yeah,
report
yeah,
cards, I mean,
yeah,
the way
yeah.
we were preparing report cards in India.
In recent times,
Yeah, yeah.
perhaps
Current
in
times.
certain
Okay.
schools, because traditionally, if we look at our assessment system, it has always been about
True.
self-assessment. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes.
And also,
Okay.
So I
Aslam,
think
you asked who will prepare this? The National
Yeah.
Assessment Center and the National Testing Agency. There is provision for setting up all these so that we can
Okay.
understand how to
Okay.
do this better.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
the policy also says that the states and the union territories would design this progress card.
Acha. So they have
Yeah.
been
Holistic
given the.
progress card.
Okay.
Something
Okay.
I
Okay.
State
want to
and
add.
territories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to invite Himanshu. Himanshu, if you can hear us, our question. Um, I have got also a challenging situation. Say, for example, if I have to select the student as a foreign university, if a student wants to go after 12 to abroad, or maybe to a university here in India, and I see this holistic approach, but the most of the time, when we see the entry criteria for further progression of the education, they are essentially based on to the academics. So your score has to be this much, your GMAT or GRE score or IELTS score has to be this much. Only some of the US universities and some of the Canadian universities, they do look into the holistic approach of the student. They do ask that, okay, what social activities you did apart from the education, or what other activities you got involved into, what were you in the sports or music or drama or any kind of activities. But other universities, usually they first look into the academics. So how this is going to happen, that one student scored, say for example, 75 percentage, but his other areas are shining, and one student scored 90 percentage, but his other areas are not so great to talk about. So how that progressive path, whereby the foreign university or the Indian university is looking into these two, uh, the scorecard, how would they look at who should they pick up? The overall good personality student or the academically well-driven student? Himanshu, if you can hear me.
Yeah, so of course, I welcome the change, but this challenge would, of course, stay. The challenge would always be, see, we can create everything. Let's say I want to make my child unique. I'm a father of an 8-year-old. Let's say I want to make my child unique. I can take him to the forest and prepare him all with the skills, or I can take him to the US and prepare him with all the skills. The thing is that I have to see who and how and what way somebody would be accepted. We have to
Right.
prepare ourselves, we have to prepare our systems in such a way that it is acceptable. So if our new education policy prepares us in the best way possible, and the acceptance is not just in the foreign international places or by other systems. The acceptance I'm talking about is at our own colleges itself. So the challenge here, talking among the principals of schools, is that will the college system, will the higher education, which I work with as well, accept this system very well? Or if they say, okay, we will accept this, who will be the proactive ones? We create a system and we change the holistic system according to the college, or the college will dictate us that this is how you need to develop it? Or on the other side, how will we work with the industry? We want to incorporate industry work with the school. you know how will we do that? The thing is, who takes the first action? Here the government has taken the first action. Government has given the directive that okay, we can do things this way. But ultimately, when the discussion comes on the table, what will an engineering college need? Like, will IIT admissions change? That's my question. Will the
Right.
medical entrance examinations change? Will they need something else? Or will IITs or other engineering colleges will say, okay, you have to score high, so high, and ridiculously high on the grades. And on the other side, you have to take the entrance exam, which is again testing you for math, physics, and chemistry alone. Because we believe that scoring in physics, chemistry, math, and scoring in physics, chemistry, math again in the entrance exam is the way to IIT. If that's the question, who will answer that and who will prepare our kids for that is my question. And they
Absolutely, a very
answer.
valid point. Very valid point, Himanshu. That's going to be the challenge. And any of our speakers have got anything to add to it, that how this challenge can be addressed?
I would like to just add to what Himanshu said. The NEP does give us a way out because it removes the focus from just one thing that you can do. IIT is, after all, just one thing that you can do. It need not be the only thing for everybody. And the 4 year, for example, the 4 year multidisciplinary bachelor's program, it gives an option to all those who don't want to really get into an engineering degree, but they go for those entrance tests because of lack of options. The NEP is giving us other options. It's talking about an undergraduate degree, either 3 year or 4 year, and multiple exit options. So you can change your mind if you
Ma'am,
want
the
to.
question is that we never had the lack of options. You know, we always had so many options available. It's only thing that students and parents, they more
Focus is
focus
now
on.
more on other options. The
Right,
focus
right.
is now more on other options.
Initially it wasn't multidisciplinary, it wasn't
Yeah.
multidisciplinary, and vocational subjects were not given much importance. Now that
Yeah.
vocational subjects are given importance, and the walls between, the stringent walls between science, commerce, and arts, that is science, humanities, and art, has been broken up, and it is multidisciplinary. So the scope is more. There's a lot of scope now for children to pick and choose, and what happens is, like a child, if you give him a kiwi, an apple, an orange to taste, only then he knows the taste of it. So now, with the multiple options, the child will know the feel and the taste. Should he continue further with that, or should he not continue with that? Then he can take a break and go for a major somewhere, a minor somewhere. So there are a lot of options with the NEP 2020.
Right.
Yeah, and the focus is not on reducing the rigor or making higher education less meaningful or less, I would say, effective than it should be. It is more about giving everybody more options and trying to focus people in various areas where they can still excel. IIT is not the only option that will give you
Absolutely.
a great career and a great life.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point you all have made, that through this policy, what the government is trying is that opening up your mind so that you look at the different options which are available, and then you're not just focusing on to through marks to the entrance exam, which are marks oriented again. And also be
Yeah.
open and then try the options. Yeah, that's very well said, I guess.
There's
So
one more very positive thing to look at is, schools used to put either sports, arts, and such kind of uh, humanities subjects or art subjects as after school activities or extracurricular. And a
right,
handful of very less percentage of Indian schools, if I leave aside, the high end and the international schools, the other schools used to get it as a luxury. Now it's going to be a commonplace thing the schools will have to provide. And it also suggests ways of doing it, like collaboration among schools as clusters and complexes, to make it possible for everybody to afford it.
right, absolutely right. Now, I just want to take this the conversation to another direction, which also many students were asking us that uh, is it going to impact the student choice of going abroad? And here I would like to invite Mr. Ganesh and Mr. Himanshu. Mr. Ganesh first. Uh, how do you see that students who are going abroad, will they have now easy progression, or will they have any difficult things to face, or is there anything for them through this policy to progress further, maybe after 12th or after graduation, to further education abroad? Mr. Ganesh.
Yeah. So, seeing this national education policy, I feel now students have a wide, broad spectrum to choose the courses in our local universities, national universities here. So, wherein before the ages, like if I exclude the top universities, like top 20 universities, IITs, and a few IIMs, and still we are having a lot of engineering colleges. wherein in these local engineering colleges also, giving the options of major and minor is not at all available till today. Most of the colleges, if we talk about the high-end universities, they are providing such options. Now, with this policy, I feel that all the students will get a lot of options to choose. So the students who are opting for going abroad may rethink, and especially NEP is focusing on the respect of our Indian culture, oneness of India, and the policies, whatever now the government is preparing and implementing, like Make in India, Made in India. So maybe the students, a potentiality of Indian students will be useful for India, and they may rethink of going to students going to abroad.
Okay, what's your take, Himanshu, on this particular point?
So I missed a bit. If you can just highlight the question again.
Yeah, the question is that how this policy is going to impact the student's choice to go abroad for higher education.
So how is it helping? See, of course, flexibility will definitely help, but as I mentioned earlier, we have to prepare the mindset, because the output is very important, and we have to prepare the mindset such way, because when we see overall seeing, the national education policy will definitely help us or our students to go and join the top international universities. Definitely. So if this is in that direction, yes, it is. And if the mindset, what I mean here is that what are we wanting? The IB schools, CBSE schools were already having these options. But only India, or only a few countries in India, we were seeing that somebody, even at IB, and did not advise to take physics, chemistry, and math with them. He was still taking physics, chemistry, and math. The IB curriculum is not meant for take all the three subjects at this level. So the Indian students were still taking physics, HL,
Sorry, your voice is not
so
clear,
I
Himanshu.
would
We can't hear.
see that what you're saying is helping us to make us better for those international colleges. Then the parents, the students, the society all have to go together to change and develop that student into the best possible professional. So this is how I would see, and I would bring in the mindset angle to these, the flexibility options provided.
Right,
So I would be a bit skeptical for a few years. We took about 5 years to develop this policy. So of course, I see a lot of has been done at the back end also. But then
right.
maybe in 5 years we'll have a good idea where we are moving, and keep making the adjustments, because mm, we will of course keep moving. You know.
Okay. Okay.
But I would bring in
We
the
are just
mindset angle
we
here.
are just
I
losing
want to
you in between,
understand
so your
how we
sentence
would
is
be
not
changing
clear.
the perception,
Right.
uh, how we will
Yeah.
be able to make ourselves attractive to the top colleges abroad.
Okay, thank you very much. I would also want to touch upon this particular point, which many students, especially the students who are sports enthusiastic, they have asked this question a lot of time. That, as you rightly said, Dr. Sagarika, that they have got the one clear
Aslam,
option that NIUS for the sports, but
so I
now
was
since
mainly
having
seeing
the
that
sports
instead of
included into the program, this is what we got.
Himanshu is speaking in between.
Yeah.
There is something.
Yeah. So if this sports we have heard is been included in the program, so what exactly it is? Whether it's really a part of the education now, or it's going to be still extracurricular activities? How do you see this?
Yeah, it's no longer going to be extracurricular activity. Sports will be an integral part of education. In fact, extracurricular, co-curricular, and curricular will be totally bound together as one entity. Totally as one entity. So there's not going to be a different mark sheet for sports and different mark sheet for education for your normal subjects. It's all going to be one. And also at the same time, initially only PE was given more importance. Now even sports plus PE plus yoga, these will be
Okay.
given more importance, because now mental health of the child is a concern everywhere, and especially due to pandemic, due to this particular situation, the children during this particular 1 year time, the damage that it has done to the children and the mental health of the children, I think this NEP is going to do an excellent job. And for sportsmen, as I told you, that it's going to be opening its doors for every child. That is when we talk of the multiple intelligence, the Harvard Gardner's multiple intelligence. It's going to give room to each and every child with different capabilities. So sportsmen will also, of course, get an upper hand in this particular curriculum. They'll be able to do more, and they'll be graded accordingly for that.
Okay.
So you can also take these as a subject, vocational guidance. When I say vocational subject, they'll have sports as a vocational subject, so they can actually hone this particular subject. They can
So
perform as they learn.
yeah, if I'm interested in football, or today's generation is more towards soccer and football. So if I'm
Yes.
interested towards football, so I can take this as a subject, or
Yes. You can play the game, and as well as maybe you can take that is physical education as a vocational subject also. So you're learning also something about your about sports and physical education. At the same time, you're playing also, and whatever you're playing is also the system is giving you that kind of importance. Initially, it
okay.
was that the ones who wanted to play, it was an extracurricular activity or a co-curricular activity. It was not synced into the system. Now that it is synced into the system, the child will get equal opportunities. There will be equity in all of these together.
Absolutely. That's nice. That's very nice to note about this. Dr. Jaya, if you can hear us, I'm sorry, I can't see you on the video.
Yes, yes,
There's a
I'm here,
question.
very much here.
Okay, thank you very much. So there's a question which has been asked that what would be and how important would be the teacher's role in all this perspective which we are seeing? Because we are talking about a lot of new things coming in, and ultimately it's a teacher who is going to deliver, the policy
So
through their.
this right. So if you're talking about the role of the teachers, I think they are at the center, side, right, front, everywhere. In fact, the policy has a beautiful statement which says that the teacher is at the center of implementation of this policy. So,
Right.
I mean, there is no question about the role of the teachers. They are the ones who are going to make it possible to implement this policy, to turn this vision into a reality. Because there is a lot which has been said about, which has been said by the policy about the deployment of teachers, the dignity that it will restore for the teachers, the glory that the teachers used to have in earlier times. It envisions that glory to be re-established, and that would happen through the brightest minds to be attracted into teaching, with their career growth being taken care of through continuous professional development. The kind of courses that would be offered, very rigorous kind of the 4 year integrated B.Ed course, and then the 3 year graduation plus 2 years of B.Ed, or it is a 1 year B.Ed course. So there is a progression, the variety, flexibility given there as well. If you will ask that question, definitely we'll answer that as well. But if it is about role, so I think the teachers are being empowered and strengthened if we go by the word of the policy. So it just does not end with training them and empowering them, but there will be a better level of accountability and quality control. So I feel NEP is looking at the teachers as the most crucial element
Absolutely.
of this whole system. It's
Absolutely.
a matter of pride for the teachers, in fact.
Right, right. Now, one more question is asked with regards to study abroad,
Add over
and
here, Aslam, sorry. The NEP says that there has to be 50 hours of continuous professional
TPD
development per year. Per year. So
for the
every
teachers as well as the
will
leaders.
be at a level now. Every teacher will have to be at a level.
wow, okay.
Yeah.
So there will be this parameters which will be set in order to have the teachers on the board.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's nice.
Teacher
That's nice.
training will be
So,
given a lot of importance. Lot of importance.
Right, right.
So,
Yes,
there will
doctor.
be not only the teachers, but the school leaders are expected to have the 50 hours of CPD in a year. This would be conducted at various levels, that is local levels, regional level, state level, international level as well.
Right,
So
right, right,
In
it's
fact, the
looking at teacher
NEP has
training
focused,
from a very new angle.
right.
NEP has focused a lot on teacher development, a lot
Yes.
on empowerment, lot of testing that is going to be put in place also.
Yeah.
So there will be
Right,
various levels of testing that will go into.
right. So I believe that
And
as a
also
whole,
we
we are going
be
to.
multitaskers,
Yes,
definitely.
Mr. Ganesh.
When we start from the languages, if we see, the teachers also have to be now like multilingual teachers because of the flexibility of three languages. So right from there, the teachers have to be now multitaskers.
Right,
If we
right,
have the educational forces into picture and
right.
multidisciplinary approach, all the teachers have to be multitaskers.
So it is a lot of stake is there on the teachers in order to make this policy successful. And understandably, there is a lot of importance has been given to the teachers to strengthen them, to skill them, so that they are competent enough to deliver what is expected out of this policy. Again, another question has been also asked that the policy also touched upon, I'm not sure whether how detailed they have gone into, but they have touched upon inviting the foreign universities in India. I would like to invite Debika ma'am to touch upon this point that we talked about inviting foreign universities. I still remember that when the previous government was there, that time also Mr. Sibal made a serious attempt, in this regards. But what we got to know is that the government was asking for 50 crores of deposits and all those stuff, which really put the foreign universities off from the proposal. Now here we are talking about, if not the deposit, but at least what has been was spoken about is inviting the top 100 ranked universities of the world to come and set up the campuses. So my question is, uh, how do we decide, what parameters are there or which ranking we are referring here? Because there are different rankings when you talk about the different platforms. So how would we decide which ranked top 100 university of what platform needs to be invited here? Yeah, Deepika ma'am, you are on mute. We lost your video. Maybe I'll just come from to Himanshu meantime. Himanshu, would you like to address this particular question, please?
Yeah, of course, this is a very difficult question how to go about it. And of course, whatever we do, there would be a doubt, there could be a controversy, there could be some work against it, for it. So, how will that work is a very difficult question. But generally speaking, there are two big agencies which are followed. So, one is, of course, the QS rankings, which a lot of people follow. On the other
Yeah,
side, there is the Times Higher Education ranking. But even between these two, not the same universities would be part of the top 100. So I think there should be something consistent that, let's say, we decide in 2020 that we take that rank into consideration, but just being in that 100 shouldn't be the only criteria. I would say those 100 could apply. And then if there is something, some university which is not in top 100, they should be considered as well. Let's say something is 110 or 120. There should be some scope for at least 10 universities. So that application should be there. And within that application, again, a preference could be given to the top 100, either in Times Higher Education or in QS or something like that. We have to have a provision, something like that. But then, as we are doing holistic report card, we have to feel for the universities as well and take the holistic applications from them. And again, one part of that, like one part is marks for the students, one part of
yeah.
that could be the ranking. Something like that has to come up, and it has to be consistent for maybe 2-3 years or something like that.
Yeah, I think you made a very valid point,
Sorry, I didn't,
regarding.
sorry, I just
No problem.
couldn't get back. Huh?
No
Thank
problem.
you, Himanshu, for taking the question.
Yeah, Devika. Would you like to add to
I
what
want to
Himanshu
add
said?
No, I
I want to
agree
add
with Himanshu. It has to
Yeah,
be
okay.
uh, a
Yes,
I would like
holistic
to add,
approach. Yes,
right.
please.
Yeah, Mr.
I'm
Ganesh,
sorry,
and
I
then
had some technical issues.
no problem. No problem. Mr. Ganesh and then Dr. Sagarika. Mr. Ganesh.
And I just want to add to this. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Dr. Jay, I'll come to you after Sagarika. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, Ganesh.
Yeah, Aslamji, when we are talking about the parameters rightly said by Himanshu, I want to focus on this. I belongs to mainly school education. When we think about the higher education also, the basic parameters to judge, to invite the universities is first their capability of building up the infrastructure. Second is how many number of courses they can provide to our students. And third, I feel that the research programs as well as the capability of doing innovations mainly in this area. So if these parameters are, if they are considering into that, they can invite those universities to
Right.
set up.
Right. Dr. Sagarika, do you see this could also have impact on student going abroad? They may stay back in India, or how
Yes.
it is going to look like?
Yes. The thing is that we need to understand that NEP 2020 is based on 5 pillars. And the 5 pillars are nothing but accessibility, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability.
Okay.
So once these 5 areas are taken care of, and if these universities are ready to abide by these 5 pillars of NEP 2020, then of course they are welcome to India. Secondly, what will happen is that many children, many aspiring children having excellent grades couldn't move abroad. I mean, there are very few organizations like yours who have given this kind of scholarship that you mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, you know. But then there are very few. I mean, see our population. I mean, everybody would aspire to go abroad for a specialization, because specialization itself is more. I mean, you can upscale yourself. It's more. You can become more employable. But now with NEP 2020 coming in, it's going to open the doors for all these aspiring students who wanted to go abroad and study abroad, because it's going to cut on travel cost, on India, on dollar versus INR. That is your students going to the to UK, that's pounds versus INR, you know. So all this inflation will be taken care of, and at a very minimal cost, staying back at home itself, there will be accessibility to university. So I think that's one of the best that can happen to the children of India, especially the ones who were always aspiring to go abroad, you know. They have lost lot of chances in life, and have never been able to upskill themselves. So this is, I think, the best that can happen. MOOC, of course, MOOC is always there. MOOC is always there. Online platforms are there, doubtless. But then nothing like a face-to-face, the universities coming and getting exposure in those universities.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
So the answer to your question would be yes, students will stay back in India and will follow education here itself. And it will be a relief for the parents as well, knowing the economic conditions of the country. Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I would like to say, Aslam,
Yeah, Dr.
you know, it's in addition to this same point, we are talking about universities to come to India, okay, and run their courses and programs. This NEP vision actually is too ambitious and is even aspiring to have Indian universities setting up their campuses abroad. You know, let's hope that that dream comes true, where we should be able to set up our campuses and be invited by other countries to set up Indian universities there. I think this is where we have to look at, if we are looking at that quality.
Yeah, that's wonderfully put by Dr. Jaya. That's wonderfully put by Dr. Jaya. But also the flip side of it would be that if these universities come here, our universities will actually scale up. You know, so our education,
yes, of course,
will be it will be very motivating for our universities to upscale themselves and deliver better, which is actually not really, I would say, happening now, because there's no competition.
Yes.
Competition is always a good proposition.
I think yes.
Of course.
I mean,
So
competition always brings about.
You know, in a few years, Indian universities would be setting up outside once we are able to reach that level.
Like so some of the universities, like we know that Amity University have done a great job, and they have got the multiple campuses across the 4 to 5 countries. And in Dubai, in fact, a lot of Indian universities have showed their interest to have the campus. When I was there last time, even the small city of UAE, like Ras Al Khaimah, I know. So they are going to be, they are aspiring to be the next Dubai in United Arab Emirates, and they are inviting a lot of Indian universities to come and set up the campuses. They are offering a lot of freebies and a lot of incentives for that. So I believe that yes, same approach if we also have towards the foreign university. I'm sure that I agree with both of our panelists that that will help even the local university to upgrade and upscale themselves, and eventually
Sure.
it will bring down the quality to the students, which is most important to them, right? So I'll just
One
come to
That's
the,
thing that is going to affect the future, Aslam, just wanted to say, one big
yeah,
thing
ma'am.
which I feel will affect the future is the provision in NEP, which states, sorry, I don't know what is happening,
Yeah,
which
no problem.
states that we will have credit-based recognition of MOOCs. So the distance learning which is being proposed doesn't really necessitate. I mean, it removes the possibility of actually setting up universities, either India in the other countries or other countries coming up and setting universities, because it is opening up many new avenues, especially in the present scenario of open universities and distance learning. So that is another very great provision in the NEP.
Right, right. Thank you very much. I've got a few questions here. Students who are looking for career counseling, and if you're asking a specific question related to a specific topic, that what is good for you and what you should select, we have already done in the past a session based on the career counseling and how to select the right program, and we may be doing in future as the time comes. But just to answer this question, we are not going to discuss in detail here. We're already running out of the time. However, I would like to give away that gift which I announced in the beginning, is that we have got a student ability test, and it is one of the best tests in India. We are tied up with Access Hub. It is the best company for running this test for last many years. And now, what is this test is available is usually in the market for 5,000 rupees, but only for today. And we do every Friday, you know very well. So, new audience who has joined us today. So, if you'd like to assess yourself as a student, your strengths, your weaknesses, this is a well documented, detailed, psychometric, and scientifically proven test which would take around 1.5 to 2 hours. You got to be very patient with the test, and you have to answer this question in order to have a clarity about which areas you should go for. I'm sharing the link here, whereby you can click, and then you can go through the test details and also do the online registration formalities to take the test. The test is for 5,000, but only for today on Friday, we are offering it for 999 rupees. So that is the very reasonable price for you. It could be just a two burger in KFC or three in McDonald's. So that's what amount you invest for your own future. So take that test, have that report, and if you need a further counseling interpretation of the report, then do contact us. We'll be more than happy to arrange a session for you with our counselors and take you through the test report. So coming out to the last round of the conversation, we're talking about now the implementation part. So we discuss and explore the various policies and various areas of opportunities which it gives to the students and parents. Let's talk about the implementation. I would like to quickly take from each of our speakers one or two lines of final note onto this implementation. What do you think that how well this policy and when and how soon we are going to see this policy going to get implemented? Starting from Dr. Sagarika, would you like to talk about the implementation part of this policy?
Yeah, I think the implementation of of this particular policy would be best if all Indians embrace this change and look at it positively. If our target audience, that is our parents, are ready to accept this particular change, keeping political biases away and seeing how positive it is coming up for their own child's growth, I think that is 50% of the implementation.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That, yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Sagarika. Dr. Jaya?
Yeah. So I think NEP talks of immediate implementation because within a year it is going to come up with the national curriculum framework for secondary education, for school education, and also the national curriculum framework for teacher education. So it is all set to implement. What is needed is all of us to get into the right mindset and not just take word as a word, but by its spirit, and imbibe that spirit and bring in all these wonderful principles that Dr. Sagarika just mentioned for all of us, bring in the spirit in all the entire educational system. I think it's very much possible, because the biggest point that it talks about is universalization of education, access to everyone. And it is possible if everyone is involved, if each one is teaching one and is taking responsibility for one, then only we will be able to reach out.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Jaya is emphasizing on the universal implementation and its oneness, which is going to be implemented. And friends, as per her, this policy, you're going to see the reflection of this implementation from the year onwards. So, hopefully, we'll be having a lot of things coming in and exciting education experience. Moving to Ms.
I would
Debika.
also just like to add, Aslam,
Yeah, yeah, Jaya.
once we have gone through the policies, people are discussing about it, let us understand and analyze and start from our end. Let us not wait for things, let's not give excuses. Whatever way we have understood and whatever way we can bring in these principles, we need not wait for timelines. We can begin.
Right.
Let's
Absolutely right.
begin.
Good thing needs to
Thank you.
start immediately. That's
Yes,
true.
true.
Okay, Ms.
No
Devika,
wrong time
your
for
take.
doing right things.
Absolutely. Ms. Devika, your take on implementation.
Yeah, I agree with Sagarika and Jaya. My only thought is that we are the actually the in the best place as far as time is concerned, because we are standing at the cusp of huge change. So I look forward to immediate implementation. And I think the people who will really implement it and bring about change are the teachers, because like everybody agrees, at the heart of NEP is the teachers.
Yes,
So the
teacher.
implementation, the change has to come from the teachers. We are the ones who have to stand together and work for
Yes.
our children, because we as teachers know that whatever best we need to do for our children, we want to do it immediately. So implementation will not take time if the teachers come together and start working.
So, the teachers, if you're listening, so the future of this nation lies in your hand. So, we have got one of the best
Absolutely,
policies, I guess.
always.
It
It
has
has
always
always
lied in
been,
their head.
has always been
Absolutely.
that way.
Right. I'll come to Mr. Ganesh before I will conclude this session. Mr. Ganesh, you are on mute. So, if you'd like to go ahead, please. You are on mute, Mr. Ganesh.
This NEP policy is not like a legal document for us. It is a guideline for us. So first of all, what we have to do is start implementing, bring awareness to all the stakeholders, at least our stakeholders, bring awareness, change the mindset of the people, and start implementing. No need to wait for anyone, okay? Because it is the vision given for all of us. So that vision now we have to carry
Yeah.
that way in the form of mission, all the teachers together and all the stakeholders
And I think
together.
it's
Yes.
very well said, very well summarized. The vision has been given, and our mission has to take this vision forward now. So, thank you, Mr. Ganesh, for this. So, I hope that you all must have enjoyed the session. So, as I, and we had another very good participation of our audience. We had a lot of good questions covered so far, and I'm just checking if I have missed any questions. So most of the questions are answered. Then we'll come back again if we feel that there are lots of things to be discussed, and we've been getting the responses from the students and parents. So thank you everyone for joining us today. It was a wonderful session we had on Education Policy 2020, What's in for the Schools Part 2. Thank you
Thank
for all
you.
the
Thank you.
speakers for their valuable time and insightful knowledge and conversation which we had today. If any of our listeners seek further information, please feel free to contact us on our helpline number, which is floating on your screen, 9987099890, or you can write to us on our email ID, info@alif.in. Also, try to visit our website, get some information, and go to our YouTube channel, whereby we have covered all these 20 plus webinars which we have done so far, and you can pick up the subject which you are interested and watch it through. My name is Asslam Shaikh, the founder and CEO of Alif. Signing off with a promise that I'll come back again next Friday at the same time with another bunch of amazingly talented speakers to enlighten us on the subject matter that is matter to you the most. Until then, thank you very much for watching this program, and stay safe, stay excited.